What's that one thing that you wish that your teammates would do or wouldn't do for your specific hero that would immediately allow you to play better? I asked thousands of mains all across the Marvel's community for what they hope to see from their teammates and even what they expect, and compiled a list of tips for every single hero in the game. And if you start applying these changes, then your teammates are guaranteed to love you. And of course, we started in the ottr dojo, and as usual, make sure you don't miss out on the ottr dojo, where joining immediately gives you access to a private coaching community with a massive backlog of exclusive content, access to a improvement focused community, and regular community events. But without further ado, let's dive into it. Let's start off with a tip that inspired this video during my most recent solo to Celestial run with Winter Soldier. When Bucky is using his ultimate, try to avoid shooting the Loki clones unless absolutely necessary. Bucky players will use these for free resets, and if you shoot or even kill the clones, then you starve your Bucky teammate off of a free reset, which makes your ult significantly harder to pull off, especially if they used it to bait a support ultimate. And worst case, if you kill the clone at the wrong time, they end up ulting air, which completely cancels it. Additionally, if a fight is over, especially if your Bucky did use his ultimate in the fight prior, and there are Loki clones still standing around, don't kill them. The Winter Soldier might want to use those to prolong his ultimate, which potentially lets him get another ultimate off when the next fight starts. While we don't want to steal the clones, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be destroying the Loki runes when possible. Taking these down is generally a good idea, but are especially useful for Winter Soldier to get his maximum value. Speaking of his ultimate, making sure to prioritize hitting the targets that are marked with this red thing on their health bar will go a long way, and ensure that his ultimate keeps going again, and again. Next up, we have Wolverine. Before the round even starts, whether you have a rocket or not, making sure to drop a BRB in the spawn will help out a lot. Not only will you and your teammates get some additional bonus health, which is useful for that first fight, but your Wolverine will also get a jump pack, which he then can use to yoink one enemy all the way back into your spawn. Also, since Wolverine most likely will be picked if there's a Groot in the lobby, if there are random Groot walls just sitting around, let them stay up. This lets Wolverine farm charge, which lets him deal more damage and absolutely melt enemies. Speaking of Groot, if somebody on your team is going to play Wolverine, maybe don't waste the ban by banning Groot, because that's one of the easiest counters for a Wolverine in the first place. Additionally, be careful about using any displacement abilities. These would be abilities like hooks, grabs, the psionic vortex, or more when Wolverine does go for a grab, as this might yoink the enemy out of Wolvie's hands and stop him from doing any damage and actually securing the kill. Next up, we have Jeff. On many maps, Jeff is able to swallow enemies and spit them off of the map with his ultimate. However, the ultimate is very telegraphed and easy to dodge, or just countered by shooting him. Making sure that Jeff has a bubble and a little bit of a distraction or space as he runs through the nearest edge will help him get maximum value for that ultimate. Additionally, prior to ulting, in many cases, Jeff will be leaving a trail of bubbles to the nearest ledge. Do not take these bubbles ever, as this trail of bubbles give him the very much needed speed boost and a little bit of a heal boost to stay alive and actually reach that ledge in before he's forced to spit the enemies out or just die. Additionally, if you happen to be playing on one of those maps where Jeff doesn't have a ledge to spit off of, or if you're playing on a point where such a ledge is too far out of reach, then you need to pay attention to your Jeff after he ults, as he will be forced to spit enemies out, and even though they will be low health, most people neglect this and let Jeff die, or worse, let their entire team get flanked because they didn't bother looking out for Jeff in the first place. When you have a Magneto on your team, calling that you're going for a play, ideally vocally, or at the very least in text chat, so not just with a ping, and asking for a bubble will go a long way to ensure that Magneto actually can back you up when necessary. Ideally, you'd ask them whether they have the bubble first and then call the play when they do answer you, and then go for it after. Don't just call for it beforehand and go for it before confirming. If Magneto is going for a big ultimate on any support ultimate, or I guess in general, then tossing a damage boost his way will help a lot. In the same vein, if Magneto is trying to counter, say, a Cloak and Dagger or Invisible Woman with his ultimate, then stunning them and keeping them in place while also pinging them will make it much easier for him to hit the big meatball. When you have a Loki on your team, you'll be in for a pretty good game, making sure to stay within line of sight of Loki and his clone army, and depending on the composition and situation, trying to stick together when possible will let you benefit from his area of effect healing. When Loki pops his runes, stay within the green zones for healing and try to protect the runes with shields, or even your own body if possible. That's because you cannot take damage, or all the incoming damage is converted to heals for as long as the runes stay up. If you are a flyer, keep in mind that it is really hard for Loki to hit you, so if the situation allows it, floating still in the air or playing close to a wall will let him heal you up without forcing you to get down to the ground, which saves you both a ton of time. If you're playing a healer, making sure that you are nearby your Loki when he wants to use his ult ensures that he won't accidentally copy someone else or end up ulting way too late. As for when you have a Star-Lord on your team, finding ways to enable him during his spin to win, and of course his ultimate, will make a huge difference. Make sure that you reserve any type of shield abilities, damage boosts, and heals whenever he goes for either his ultimate or spin to win, to ensure that he doesn't get caught when doing so. If you use an ability that adds a speed boost on Star-Lord as he uses his thrusters, then he actually will go zooming forward, way more than the sum of its parts, which is really niche but can be useful to know about in some cases if you need to let him rotate ahead. When you have an Adam Warlock on your team, be more wary about the Soul Bond. This is one of the strongest non-ultimate abilities in the game and will effectively turn you invincible for a few seconds. The kicker, it has a pretty short range, and if you step too far away from Adam, then the bond will break and you can easily die. Additionally, if there's a Loki on the enemy team, especially if the Loki uses their runes, depending on the situation, for example, if the clones are really far out of the way, then avoiding killing the clones yourself or even avoiding breaking the runes can be so valuable if you have the Adam on your own team. That is because these clones allow Adam to easily farm his passive, which gives him a new heal every 3 headshots or so, which lets him spam heals as well. As for Cloak and Dagger, there are a few things that are majorly overlooked by most of the community. First off, this bubble here. It heals you if you stand in it. It actually heals a pretty noticeable amount, especially when combined with the rest of their heals. You can stay inside of the void and not take damage for longer if you don't shoot, use abilities, or leave its range, which can save you from ultimates, but I do admit it will be hard to know whether your cloak will try to use the void or not, so try to communicate if possible. Additionally, and probably most importantly, if you play any hero with additional shields, damage reduction, or any other type of cover, then making sure that Cloak and Dagger gets it during their ultimate is key, especially if you're playing against heroes such as Iron Man, Magneto, or Hawkeye with one-shots. You get it. Now, Black P is kind of self-sufficient, but that doesn't mean that you can't be of assistance. If you see your Black Panther performing a full combo on someone just dashing all over the place, due to his breakpoints, then just shooting at the enemy target once or twice will usually soften them up, where either you or the Panther will get that kill for practically free. In the same vein, be wary of killing Loki clones when he is performing a combo, but most of the time breaking runes is fine. As for Black Widow, just giving her a bit of damage boost either from Storm or Mantis will make her not just 2 times as good, but several times as good off rip. That's because the damage boost allows her to one-shot most squishy targets in the game, and without it, she needs to hit 2 shots just to secure the otherwise easiest kills. Additionally, since she has one-shot potential, telling her when somebody is stunned and pinging it will let her finish off kills very easily. Depending on the hero and what stun is used, she might not even need a damage boost to finish them off in the first place. The same goes for Hawkeye, where other than making sure he doesn't get dove, making sure to call out when you're going for a stun or when you hit a stun will make it much easier for him to secure the kill for the team. One of my favorite synergies here is charging an arrow and then headshotting whoever Emma grabs, which usually secures a kill or at the very least gets the enemy pretty low. And since the Emma grab goes through shields, you can usually grab a tank that is shielded either way. By now, when Hela pops an ultimate, Doctor Strange will almost always fly up into her face and hold his shield up to save the rest of you. If you don't shoot the Hela and take her out of that ultimate, it will be for nothing. Doctor Strange will probably die, and some of your teammates will as well, so just shoot the damn Hela. Also, when Strange goes for a portal, especially out of spawn, make sure that you shield and body block him as much as possible so he doesn't get stunned or killed by any enemies looking to cancel it, because anyone who sees him switch will try to cancel it. As for the shield and ultimate, the matchup goes the same for Hela. If your own Hela pops her ultimate, then peeling for it will significantly change just how much value you get out of it. If Doctor Strange jumps in the face, then using your stun abilities or something like Invisible Woman's Psionic Vortex will stop him from being able to stay there for long. But what many don't realize is that just by shooting his shield, you will also make a huge difference to how much he gets out of her ult, as every 125 damage to that shield lets Hela fire off yet another shot that can hit another enemy instead of having to sink it into the shield. So focusing the Strange with everything you've got during Hela's ultimate will go a long way. When you have a Luna Snow on your team, just like with most heroes, staying in communication with her will go a long way. If she hits a freeze, then you should wait a little bit before shooting so your teammates can line up headshots rather than just start shooting immediately once you see an easy target. When Luna uses her clap ability, trying to position yourself in a way where the shots will pierce as many teammates as possible really helps. And when she uses her ultimate, assuming you have an ability that can be combined with it for additional huge damage, such as Magneto's, Thor's, Namor's, even Phoenix in Season 3, then asking for the damage boost when you're using both ultimates simultaneously will make it much easier for Luna to get the timing right and give you the damage boost that you need. As for when you are blessed with an Emma Frost on your team, there actually are a ton of ways that you can assist her throughout the game. First, obviously, if you see that your Emma pops her diamond form and starts moving forwards, expect her to be going for a grab or stun, which you should follow up with easy shots for free damage.
Get ready to damage boost in a second. Damage boost? No, 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 no.
Oh! Jesus Christ! After a fight is done, leaving Groot walls or Loki clones up instead of destroying them can be incredibly valuable for an Emma, as if there are enough of them lying around, this will allow her to keep her charge at 100 in between fights, which lets her to start the fight with absolutely massive damage. Additionally, when Emma uses her ultimate, I've found a lot of success in both protecting her and, most importantly, reloading my weapons and getting into a good position when I hear the voice command, as the fresh magazine and abilities helps a ton when enemies are slowly running towards her in a straight line. When you have an invisible woman on your team, make sure to be careful about standing nearby her when she is invisible. Odds are that random pot shots that are supposed to be going your direction will end up hitting her instead, which gives away her position. When there is a shield up, try to play close to it to get passive healing and cover, and depending on the situation, staying grouped up where she can cleave heal the entire team will usually help everyone, especially the invisible woman, who actually can get some good value rather than having to heal one singular target at a time. If you have a Thing on your team, then other than following up on his hard stun ultimate, making sure that he has a way to stay alive is incredibly important. If the Thing is rushing into the enemy team or backline, make sure that you actually are within range and line of sight to him by the time he wants to get back to your team, otherwise he will be caught out without an escape and die for free. As for Storm, you'll see the most value by peeling for her and enabling her. Making sure you push up with her ultimate, giving her shields and bubbles, and healing her during that ultimate will allow her to pop off harder and get huge team wipes. When you have a Mr. Fantastic on your team, this can be great news if you let him play around you properly. One huge mistake I do see a lot of teammates make is throwing a bubble on top of Mr. Fantastic when he is stretching out in rubber form. This is a waste of a bubble and also stops him from gathering energy that he otherwise would use to shoot back into the enemies. But if you really want to bubble him, just wait until after the rubber form is done. Additionally, when he does go for an ultimate, try to shoot whoever he is landing on, break bubbles, and just apply pressure and go alongside with him if the situation allows for it. Now, Ultron, believe it or not, despite being a flyer, actually has a few ways that you can enable him for maximum value as well. First and foremost, if you need heals, just pay attention to whoever has the drone and stay within range of them. It is really that simple. As for if your Ultron happens to be low health and he is near you, going close to him will let him put a drone on you, which lets him heal himself with it. Additionally, when Ultron uses his ultimate, trying to stay within his line of sight and maybe even clumped up with other teammates or enemies will go a long way to maximize the efficiency of that ultimate thanks to its cleave and area of effect healing and consecutive damage. When you have a Moon Knight on your team, making sure that you try to coordinate large card control ultimates such as Groot's or Doctor Strange's will go a long way to ensure that they get maximum value from their ultimates. Additionally, trying to keep Loki clones up so Moon Knight can use them as onks can help in some situations as well, but most of the times you just want to get rid of the clones in the first place. At the time of this video, if you have a Namor, the picking Hulk, assuming you can play him somewhat well, is insanely strong. The hit scan squids add so much pressure and does so much damage that they might single-handedly help your team more than some of your teammates in mid to low ranks. Additionally, making sure you try to coordinate this ultimate with your big crowd control ultimates or damage boosts like Lunas or Rockets will go a long way in ensuring that Namor actually gets huge value from the ultimate. When he does use his ultimate, also make sure that you shoot the enemies after it lands. If the ultimate doesn't kill them outright, it does still stun them and turn them into easy targets with very little health remaining. If you have a Peni Parker on your team, then other than following up on her snares, keeping an eye on her mines will help you out a lot. If you are a hero with a displacement ability, such as a Bucky or a Wolverine, then grabbing or pushing the enemies into the mines will turn them into easy kills. Additionally, if you're a support or somebody who tends to get dove a lot, positioning yourself where you're standing on top of some mines at all times will protect you whenever enemies do jump you. So in short, just pay attention to the mines and the webs and stand on top of them if necessary. Also, in most cases, you will benefit a lot from protecting the spider nest. I know the enemies don't shoot them a lot, but if they do, try to stop them from doing that. Give them a shield, stand in front of them, shoot back, whatever it takes. As for Psylocke, she is generally pretty self-sufficient, but when she is going for her ultimate, make sure to destroy any bubbles that might be protecting the enemy team. Getting rid of tanks that might soak up some hits helps as well. And most importantly, if the enemy team is running a Loki, then making sure to kill the clones and breaking the runes will make the difference whether her ultimate actually gets a few kills or nothing at all. When you have a Scarlet Witch in your team, trying to make the most out of her kit will be ideal. Generally speaking, she will want to apply constant damage, which all of you really can do is try to support, but what really makes a difference is enabling her through her ultimate. When Scarlet Witch wants to use her ultimate, making sure you give her any support that you can, either by giving her shields, heals or bubbles, stunning enemy team, or just moving forward, will allow her to do so much more with it. In some cases, you have huge combos such as the Doctor Strange, Portal, and Scarlet Witch combo, but there are countless other ones that you can use to get so much value, which we have covered in a previous video. If you have a Spider-Man on your team, then one of the best ways to support your team as a whole is actually not healing him. And hear me out, obviously, if he's right there, then sure, go ahead, heal him. But a lot of healers stretch themselves thin and go out of position just to get a line of sight on the Spider-Man and end up getting themselves killed or getting a teammate killed in the process. Spider-Man has amazing movement, and he should be able to play off of medkits without a problem, so you should just let him play off of those medkits and focus on the rest of your team who normally don't have that luxury of flying all across the map in a second. So yeah, don't heal Spider-Man. Now, as for Punisher, this guy thrives the most when he receives at least a little bit of support from his team. Other than the obvious, giving him a little bit of shield and cover when he is using his turret, just giving him heals, bubbles and whatnot whenever he's trying to stay alive in a dive will go a long way, especially if he's trying to play around his own backline and supports. It is especially important to support a Punisher if he is the high value target on your team, so usually your primary DPS, which he usually is, and even more important to make sure he gets shields and healing whenever he uses his ultimate. As a Hulk, when I played Hulk, it got to the point where I just stood right in front of my Punisher at all times during his ultimate, just to give him a little bit of extra health, if all of my other cooldowns are down. If you have a Mantis on your team, then be very aware of that you probably won't have as much healing as if you had other supports, and play around the cover a little bit more. Additionally, when Mantis does hit her sleep, take a moment and wait for you and nearby teammates to line up your shots and abilities before shooting. If nobody wakes the target up, then they can stay asleep for up to 3.5 seconds, so there is absolutely no need to rush it. If Mantis pops her ultimate, then make sure that you run up along with her. Usually Mantis will use the ultimate to push into the enemy team, and if you don't push with her while utilizing that speed boost, she kind of just speeds runs right in to die alone. When you have a Squirrel Girl on your team, then there isn't too much that you can do other than shooting whoever she ends up snaring with her big acorn. That being said, when she does use her ultimate, making sure to either push up with it, stunning enemies in this path, or just shooting enemies that now are distracted with running away or shooting the squirrels will net way better results than if you were just letting it run around willy-nilly. As for when there is a Human Torch lighting up the skies on your team, then making sure that he gets as much support as possible will help you out a lot. If you can give him a shield, like if you're playing Invisible Woman, then that will help him stay in the air and poke for longer, also thanks to those passive heals. Once he uses his ultimate, then stunning enemies and trying to keep them inside of the fire tornadoes will let him deal a ton of damage without too much additional effort. When you have a Venom on your team, making sure to play around with the space that he provides and focus the targets that he currently is diving when possible will let him get the most out of his kit. Usually, focusing tendrilled enemies goes a long way, as they take a huge chunk of damage from Venom after a few seconds, and they're also slowed, which makes them easier to hit in the first place. It is worth noting that these tendrils stay on targets that face out, such as Scarlet Witch or Cloak and Dagger, and even invisible targets, meaning you can easily track their positions by following these tendrils as well. Now, Thor is also pretty self-sufficient, but that doesn't mean you can't do a lot to enable him if you do get him on your team. Primarily, stunning, snaring, and shooting the targets under his ultimate will help a lot. If you're playing something like a Hulk, then following up with his hammer charge knockups will go a long way as well. Additionally, if you're playing a hero with a damage boost like Storm or Mantis, then applying the damage boost to him during his ultimate will allow Thor to hit even juicier ultimates and be more likely to land his one-shots. And if you have a hero with a speed boost, then giving him a little bit of speed will let him actually snipe enemies in the backline with enough of a speed boost, instead of letting them just walk out of the way. As for when you have a Hulk on your team, this guy doesn't really shine unless his team helps to play around him and follow up with the space that he creates, but other than that, making sure you focused stun enemies that are knocked down, or if Hulk does his monster smash, making sure to shoot them when they are stuck on the ground after animation has finished will help a lot and give you free kills. If Hulk lands at Exile, then lining up your shots and focusing them by the time they come out of it will usually lead to a free kill. If Hulk gives you a bubble and the situation allows for it, then taking some additional damage will go a long way as it charges his ultimate, but don't take too much damage if you can avoid it, because we still don't want you to die. Almost most importantly though, destroying things like pettiness actually allows heroes like Hulk or Captain America to play the game in the first place, so make sure you do that as much as possible if your role and your hero allows for it, and of course if there is a Wolverine, shoot him. As for Magik, she is incredibly self-sufficient as well, but generally speaking, I'd say make sure you help her out when she goes in. If possible, dive in with her, just heal her or deal damage to the targets that she commits to. Just join the brawl so she doesn't fight alone. When you have a Rocket Raccoon on your team, then making sure that you defend his placeables will let him get maximum value. Make it a mental note of where the BRB is, and trying to hold enemies off of it, especially flankers if they push for it, will allow your team that revive as well as the bonus health that the armor packs drop occasionally. When he uses his ultimate, then trying to protect it, especially if you are a tank player, might save you the fight, especially in the higher ranks, as by now most people have figured out that you need to break the rocket ultimate first, and they will instantly focus it the second that it comes out. If they shoot you or your shields instead, then this allows the ultimate to stay up for longer while it keeps healing you up at the same time. If you have an Iron Fist on the team, then making sure that you keep shooting what he is hitting will help him out a ton, especially as his damage is on the low end lately. Since he has an ability that can instantly finish off squishy targets that are below half health, it makes a lot of sense to call out low health targets for him, or at the very least trying to coordinate dives or target focus that he can capitalize off. Generally speaking, Iron Fist is pretty self-sufficient, but that doesn't mean you still can't find ways to enable him and make him love you. Iron Man as a whole just needs a little bit of his team to play around him to get value. If he gets some heals, maybe even some shields, then this will be enough for him to win his duels. But look out for when he's trying to use his ultimate. Make sure to break enemy shields, runes, and other vital cooldowns that are stopping him from getting that big shot in. And if you have heals or shields, try to put them on him during the ultimate so he doesn't get picked or stunned before it goes off. If you need a tell, Iron Man usually goes for an ultimate after using his boosters a lot, and usually against enemy support ultimates. If you have a Groot on your team, playing close to the Ironwood wall will give you a little bit of bonus health. Additionally, making sure to focus the targets that Groot cuts off from their healers with his walls with either damage or stuns will secure those kills for your team. If Groot uses his ultimate, making sure to focus the same targets will be incredibly useful. If you're playing a hero with a very strong ultimate, especially an area of effect one, like Moon Knight or Namor, then combining your ultimate with Groot's will ensure you get a team wipe, sometimes even through enemy support ults, for practically free. And of course, like I said before, if there is a Wolverine on enemy team, shoot the Wolverine so Groot doesn't die without being able to fight back. And finally, for Captain America, just playing off of this guy and the space that he can give will let your team run over anyone that stands in your way. If Cap is trying to stay alive and stall the point for as long as possible and you're a healer, then throwing a little bit of heals his way will let him stall the point almost forever, assuming that you can stay alive and keep those fresh heals coming. When Captain America ults, then you want to make sure to follow in his wake of freedom. This gives you a speed boost that lets you stay on top of him, in addition to a huge amount of bonus health. As I mentioned previously, making sure to destroy the spider nest, especially this season, will let Captain America actually play the game in the first place, so make sure that you do that. And yeah, those were pretty much all the way you can help specific heroes or mains. If you have more tips or something you feel like I left out, make sure to drop that in the comments. And as usual, make sure to check out the ottr dojo. Link is in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.